Hello, dear students. Once again, welcome back to another English class. So, today we'll be discussing a new chapter on saying please. So, written by A.G. Gardner. In this chapter, the author points out the value of good manners in social life. So, in this chapter, we will learn that how social manners, uh, you know, affects our life, how good manners affect our life. He emphasizes the importance of courtesy and politeness in daily life. He gave importance that about good manners and politeness and how it will affect our daily life. He shows how polite speech and manners sweetens our environment. He shows us that if we be polite, if we have a good manner, good attitude, how it will make the environment sweet and sound. Everyone likes a person who is courteous and humble, and dislike who is rude. So if you are courteous, if you are humble, everyone will like you. You will be more approachable. On the other hand, if you are not, you people will keep distance from you. Good manners will help you to earn respect and cooperation. So we'll see how good manner affect our social relations. In this chapter, we'll discuss about this. So in this chapter, there are two incident where we'll see two different situation, two different people who are reacting differently in both the situation, and what are these two outcomes. So the first story is the story of a liftman. The young liftman in a city office who threw a passenger out of his lift the morning and was fined for the offense was undoubtedly in the wrong. So the first new word we will learn in this chapter is offense. Offence. Offense it means an illegal action. An illegal action is offense. So that morning, the liftman. Now, who is a liftman? A liftman is a person who operates lifts. In cities, you will see there are skyrocketing skyscrapers who are where there are lifts which are operated by some people who are known, who are said to be as liftmen. So that morning, the liftman threw out one of his passenger, and the liftman was fined for it. He was penalized for his action. He has to pay penalty. But on the other hand, the liftman, the passenger was not penalized. The passenger was not fined for anything. So now we will analyze why the liftman was fined and why the passenger was not fined, and whose fault it actually was. It was a question of please. The passenger entering the lift said top. So it was a question of please. You right? A simple yet very effective word please. So the passenger came and he said to the liftman, top. He did not say please, top please, or he did not request it. He simply came and commanded top. And the liftman seemed that he got offended by that command. Although he might be working there as a liftman, but he was a human after all. So he also deserved some kind of respect. So the passenger did not pay him that minimum respect, so he was offended. So the liftman demanded top please. You could have said top please, but the passenger denied to say please. He again commanded top. The liftman hurled the passenger out of the lift. Hurled, Hurled, throw out. The liftman threw out the passenger out of the lift, and for this he was offended. Now, so if we look at the situation, the passenger came, he commanded top, the liftman got offended, he said to say politely top please, the passenger refused, the liftman threw the passenger out of the lift. And who was fined? Who was penalized? It was the liftman who was fined. Now, if we look at the scenario, it was the liftman who started the whole situation, it was the passenger who started the whole situation, who provoked the liftman to be, angry. But uh, in if you look at the matter lawfully, we'll see that there is no law that governs people civility. Although if you assault somebody, if you beat somebody, it is governed by law. If you physically assault somebody, you will be taken, the law will take against action against you. But if you but there is no law that will govern your civility, how good you are at your social skills. This was carrying a comment on manners too far. Discourtesy is not a legal offense. It does not excuse assault and battery. If a burglar break into my house and I knock him down, the law will acquit me. 3 word: assault. Assault means attack. Battery means to beat. And one word, what else we find? Acute means to let off by the law. So if we look at if you take a look, we'll see that discourtesy is not a legal offense. Means what? If you are not polite, if you are harsh or rude to someone, it's not a legal offense. No law will punish you for that. But if you physically assault someone, if you beat someone, that might lead you to a punishment. Now, in some cases, but not in all the cases, if a burglar breaks into my house and I knock him down, the law will acquit me. But if a burglar means what? If a thief or a robber who breaks into your house, at that point, for your safety, you can assault or you can beat that person. The law will still, will not punish you, because you were doing that for self-defense. And if I am physically assaulted, it will permit me to retaliate with reasonable violence, right? If you are physically assaulted, means what? If somebody else uh, assault you or beat you, at that time the law will permit you to use violence for your own protection. Retaliate, new word. Retaliate means what? Retaliate means to attack in return. Means what? If somebody attack you, you can attack them back for self defense. Another one, assailant, new word. Assailant means what? Assailant means what? The person who attacks somebody. The person who attacks somebody. There is an assailant. So if a person attack you, at that time you can use violence for your own self-defense. But no legal system could attempt to make law against bad manner or could sanction the use of violence against someone which does not itself recognize as a legally punishable offense. See, in this case, you see there violence, law regulate violence. Law as you know gave you the liberty to use violence into a few of the cases. In one case, you see if somebody breaks into your house, if a burglar break into your house, and in other case, we saw that if somebody attacks you, you can attack them back in self-return, right? You can attack them back in in self-defense. In this case, in either of this case, you can use violence, but there is no law that governs the use of your language, your words. So if but no legal system could attempt to make the law against bad manner or could sanction the use of violence against something which does not itself recognize as legally punishable offense. And whatever our sympathy with liftmen, we must admit the law is reasonable. It would never do if we are free to box people's ears because we did not like their behavior or the tone of their voices. Our fist would never be idle and the gutters of the city would run with blood all day. So in the first case, whatever may be the reason or whatever may we feel it different, but we must accept that the liftman was undoubtedly in the wrong. He was wrong because he used violence first. He used violence first. He assaulted somebody. So the law, according to law, he is guilty. The passenger is not guilty. So suppose if we are, if the people, if people are, granted to use violence if they don't didn't like somebody's way of talking or somebody's behavior, if the law granted them to use violence, imagine. So there is every day or every moment there is somebody who is rude to us, or who might be harsh to us, or there is somebody who's the way of talking or behavior is not pleasant to us. So if we are permitted to assault them or beat them, our hand would never be idle. Means what? Every time we will be busy in beating someone or boxing someone, and the gutters of the city would be filled with blood. Means what? The drainage of the city will be filled with blood, because we will be constantly either beating someone or get beaten by someone, right? So there is no law that there is no law that that governs people's uh, words, but their law is very strict in case of violence. I may be as uncivil as I may please, and the law will protect me against violent retaliation. I may be haughty, but there is no penalty to pay except the penalty of being called an invalid fellow. Haughty, H-A-U-G-H-T-Y. Haughty. Haughty means proud, arrogant. Haugusty. What it means? A proud person or an arrogant person. See, there are people which we see around us, which we encounter of an encounter. There are people whose way of talking or way of behaving, make us feel very annoyed, right? Make us feel angry. But we cannot do anything, right? Because he is simply talking with us. He is not getting involved with us physically, right? So we can do nothing. We have to either ignore him, or we have to, keep our distance from him, right? Or in the worst case scenario, we can call him an ill-mannered person, right? But we cannot touch him. And the moment when we touch him, we become the antagonist. We become the villain. The other person, whatever he did, he is not, here. Uh, yeah, he is not. He is not responsible for it. After all, the whole responsible of the situation will come into our shoulder, or the one who had, first used violence. It will be his fault only. So a person may be as haughty as you want. He might be, as arrogant as he want, as ill-mannered as you want. So there is nothing we can do about it. We have to either bear him, or either keep distance from him, or we have to either, in the maximum we can call him an ill-mannered person, but we cannot use violence because the law did not permit it. Okay. The law does not compel me to say please any more than it says I shall not waste my mustache or dye my hair. So the law does not compel or make anyone bound to use courteous words. The law does not command anybody to say please or thank you or any kind of word that can, add sweetness to the conversation. That can add, courtesy to the conversation. It's like, if you are free to talk, you have a freedom of speech. Okay, it's not that uh, the law will punish you for anything you say, although there are some limitation, of course. But for a normal conversation, to say please, thank you, the law doesn't compel you to say that, right? So it's like, right, I can either keep my mustache, or I can wax it off or cut it off. I can dye my hair, I can color my hair, I can do, it's like, something very personal. I can do it or I can't do it. If you are okay with it, bear with it or keep a distance, right? So there is no law. I can talk however I like. The law will do nothing to me. So imagine this t-shirt which I am wearing is, I am wearing because I like it. It's my choice, right? That nobody can do nothing about it. I have worn it because I liked it. There is no law that will say do not wear it, right? So similarly, saying thank you and please, there is no law that will say you to say thank you and please. That is why these things are taught in your school or taught by your parents, because the law will not teach you. These are the these thoughts, or sorry, these lessons or these values will make you a good human. No law will teach you that. It is probable that the liftman was much more hurt uh, by what he thought to be an insult to his social status than he would have been if he had a kick on his shins, for which he could have got illegal legal redress. The pain on the kicks on the shins soon passes away, but the pain on wound to our self-respect or our pride may poison a whole day. Now, let us acknowledge the situation once more, or let us take a look. See, now the liftman thought was that the liftman was now got the liftman was badly insulted, so he felt wounded, not physically but in his social status. He was insulted, he was humiliated. So he thought that if that person, if the liftman, sorry, if the passenger, if he had beaten me, instead of saying those instead of being harsh on me, or instead of insulting me, if he had beaten me, then I would be the one who would be getting compensation. I would be the one who would receive justice, not that one. But actually the passenger has started it all by being discourteous, but at the end it was the liftman who received fine or penalty. Now the liftman is thinking, if that person would have kicked me in my legs, then what would happen? I would have complained it, I would have received justice, I would have uh, been the victim. But now he is the victim and I am the villain, and I have paid the penalty. Now he is very much angry. He is very much angry because if he had kicked him in his leg, or if he had physically assaulted him, now after few days or few sometime, his pain would have gone away. But this pain, the pain that is now he is suffering, the pain of being insulted, the wound in his self-respect, this one is not healing faster, and he is now mentally very much disturbed. Now it will ruin his whole day, because the incident happened very early in the morning. Now he is mentally disturbed. Now it will ruin his whole day. Means what? The whole day he will be in a bad mood, he will be very cranky and moody, right? So it is ruin his own whole day. I can imagine the liftman must have been brooding over the insult by the hour, and taking out in his wife in the evening is the only way of restoring his balance, for there are few things more catching than bad temper and bad manners. Okay, now the author thought that for the whole day he will be thinking, the liftman will be thinking about this his insult, and it will make him very much angry with every passing time. Brooding means thought that make you angry or sad. Brooding, BROODING, thoughts that make you angry or sad. That's it, very simple. Now, it's quite natural when we are insulted or when we are angry, we tend to take it out on another people, so that to restore balance. When we are extremely angry, or when we are extremely feel insulted, we feel very our mental status is not balanced, right? So at that time, if anybody come and try to talk with us, we talk to them uh, in a moody way. So the only way the liftman could have restored his balance, means what, to get to his peace of mind back, is to take out this negative energy or negative thought on his wife, so at the in the evening he will go return back to his home, and he will be mentally disturbed. And at that time in the evening in his home, his wife will try to interact or talk with him. At that time he will take out all the angerness into his wife. because he was angry, he was insulted, so he had nobody to uh, take out his angerness, so he will take it out on his wife. Now what will happen? Now his wife will be insulted. Of course, his wife will be angry. She is also a person. Now she will do what? She cannot retaliate back to his to her husband. So she will do what? She will take it out on her son or daughter. On her son or daughter. See, the it is like a chain reaction. It started with the passenger, right? Now, see, it started with the passenger. He behaved badly to the liftman. Now the liftman will take it out into his wife, and the wife will take it out on her children. See? Now, is it a possibility that this passenger was or had a heated argument or a heated conversation with his wife or his father or his mother before coming to the office? Is it possible that this passenger had a heated argument or discussion with his family before coming to the office? So the thing that started inside someone else's family ended with someone else's children. See, bad manners are also infectious. Now, when this kid will suffer violence, will see violence from his parents, he will do what? He will be mentally disturbed. Now, he cannot take it out on anybody. So, this angerness will accumulate in his mind, and it will accumulate and accumulate and accumulate, and this will make him a very angry person or a very arrogant person, and it will make him a bully, and ultimately it will disturb the mentality of a child, and he will grow up to be a bad person. Might be. He might grow up to be a bad person. So the thing that started from someone else's family and is the end result is a children who is getting led to a wrong path. Bad manners probably do more poison the stream of general life than all crimes. So these children that I am talking about may get led to a wrong path and may turn out to be a criminal, because he is facing violence, or he is accumulating all the negative emotion of his parents into him, and he has nobody to talk to, he has nobody to take it down into, so he will turn out to be a bad person probably. So we see how bad manner affect our environment. This person may not have realized, the family of the passenger may not have realized, but they have already created a bad person in the society who might be a criminal one day. So see, it might seem negligible, but it affects a lot. It is, you can say, one of the, bad manners probably do more to poison the stream of general life than all the crimes. See, it creates more harm than all the crimes, because it creates a criminal. It plays a vital role to create a criminal itself. So, but we overlook this thing because it is not, we are not doing it directly. We are doing it indirectly. It's a chain reaction. So see how it affects. But no court could put into practice a law which governed our social manner, our speech, and our all moods and manner, while it is truly that there is no law that compels us to say please. There is a social practice much older and much more sacred than law, which orders us to be civil, and the first requirement of civility is that we should be thankful for the service. Please and thank you are the small changes with which we pay our way social wing. They are the little courtesies by which we keep the machine of life oiled and running sweetly. So there is no law to stop such a big chain reaction, but there are practices which will do what? Which will help you to be a good person or to be a better person of the society. There are sacred practices. There are moral practices to be thankful to someone. There are practices to be grateful to someone, right? So there are practices to feel sorry about something you did bad. Two simple words: please and thank you. Two simple words, very simple, can turn your life the whole way upside down. If you use them, your life will turn out to be good, and if you don't use that, you will have a negative response from the society. So these two words, they do what? They keep the oil machine of the society running smoothly. Means what? They act as a lubricant of the society for its smooth functioning. They put our interaction upon the basis of friendly cooperation and easy give and take instead on the basis of superior ordering into inferiority. It is very vulgar in mind that would wish to command where we can have the service for asking and habit and willingness and good feeling instead of resentment. Now, every person in the society, suppose a person Z, a person Z, he might be working under person B. A person Z might be working under person B. At the same time, there is another person C, right? Person C, person B, person Z, and person C. Now take us consideration for person Z. So person Z is working under person B, and person C is working under person Z. Now here, if we look that if person B, he orders him to do this work, that work, right? He will obviously feel annoyed. He cannot give his 100% because he will be angry, or either angry or sad, because his superior B is always ordering him to take out his work. But at the same time, what he will do, this person Z will take out all the angerness on person C. He will order work from C. So he will also not be angry, angry or efficient. Similarly, he will take it out on someone else. He will take it out on someone else, and he will take it out on someone else. So what is the solution then? The solution is that if you want somebody to work for us, if you want to take out some work from somebody, if you want somebody to work for us, we can say him nicely. We can say him nicely. We can say him, courteously. A person C is obviously bound to do work for Z. Z is obviously bound to do work for B. He will do it whether he say it nicely or politely. But there will be a difference between saying it politely and saying it in a harsh way, right? If you say it, if B ask Z to do a work for him nicely, he will do it very happily, very nicely, very efficiently. The end result will be much more better than if you say it in a very harsh way. So if we want somebody to work for us, or if we work under somebody, as we expect our superior to treat us nicely, we also should treat our inferior the way we want ourselves to be treated. I fancy the railway public owes much to the underground. I fancy the public owes much to the underground railway company, which also run the buses, for insisting on a certain standard of civility in its servant and taking care of the standard is observed. In doing this, is not only makes the things pleasant for traveling public, but also perform social service, important social service. Now, people see, if you travel on metro railway or underground railway or any railway or rail, anything, any transport, especially the railway which they are talking about, to be more precise, they are talking about underground railway. We see the berths clean, we see the compartments clean, we see a good service, right? We see a very the railway companies are offering us good service, although we are paying them. But yes, we are paying them for those services, but we can say them thank you for their services, because this will not only motivate them to do even better the next time, or to do it the same work next time with much more enthusiasm, but this will also do what? This will help them to do their work more efficiently. At the same time, this will generate a warm feeling in them. They will also recognize this, yes, somebody is acknowledging their work and they are appreciating for the good deed they are doing, right? So they will be appreciated for their good works. At the same time, they will also will be willing to do it even better the next time. If bad manners are infectious, so also are good manner. If we encounter incivility, most of are apt to become uncivil, but it is an unusually uncouth person who can be disagreeable with some people. It is with manner as with the weather. Uncouth. Uncouth means rude or socially unacceptable. See, till now we have discussed that how bad manners are very much infectious, how they infect one person to another person, they infect the society. If bad manners are infectious, so are the good ones. So we'll get the same result, same rate of infection if we treat somebody in a good way, if we treat somebody nicely, right? If we treat somebody nicely, this will make their day, this will make them happy, and they will also treat the other person nicely. So this will generate a good feelings among your circle, among the in the society. And so it is always a fine with that. So we have discussed, we said in the beginning of the chapter that there are two stories. One is of the liftman and another is of the bus conductor. And so it is always so. In the case of liftman, we saw that how bad manner affect the society, how bad manner is infectious. Now we'll see how good manner is infectious. And so it is always fine whether on the polite conductor's bars for his own civility and his good humored attitude infect his passenger in lighting their spirit, he is lighting his own task. So a bus conductor who is very friendly, very welcoming, very charming, right? He used to treat his passengers, very nicely. So they are the passengers of that bus, they are very much um, uh, pleased with the actions or the behavior of the bus conductor. I remember an incident of mine. Before the lockdown, I went with some of my friends to AIMS, Delhi AIMS. So in the pharmacy section, so there were long queues, long lines, long queues. That people are very much bored. They are tired of being standing in the long queues and going from one counter to another counter. This was a very hectic job. So there was a watchman. I remember he was so nice. He was so friendly and he was so welcoming, right? He was so welcoming. He used to help people in such with such willingness that, yeah, it makes you forget that you are it makes the struggle of standing in the queue a bit less. So it really affect people, right? If you are good to someone, it really affect, although it may seem negligible to you, but it really does. Try being a good person. Try having as much as charming behavior, as much as good behavior in you. Inculcate as much as nice attitudes in you. This will make a difference in the society. You will not even know. But remember one thing: whatever you do come back to you. If you are bad, it will come back to you. If you are good, it will come back to you with even more rewards. So this bus conductor, he was not only making people's journey pleasant, at the same time he is also making his job much more enlightened. He's also enjoying his job. If you are nice and good person, you will enjoy what you do. It is a matter of general agreement that the war had a chilling effect upon these little everyday civilities of behavior that sweeten the general air. We must get those civilities back if you are to make life kindly and tolerable for each other. We all accept, we all know that the war has made our life, much more miserable. Once people were, much more welcoming, much more good in behavior, but this war has, significantly reduced the civility of the society. So if we want the society to run back smoothly, to have all those good vibes in it back, we have to, we have to start using or inculcating more and more of those good words, good behaviors, good attitudes, right? The war has taken away these things from us. When there is a war, people tend to be more harsh, people tend to be more rude, right? We have to bring them back to keep the society running smoothly again. I suggest to the liftman that he would have had a more effective revenge if he had treated the gentleman who would not say please with politeness. He would have had the victory not only over the man but over himself, and that is the victory that counts. An eye for an eye will make the whole world blind. So, an eye for an eye will make the whole world blind. If somebody is bad to you, the solution is not that you treat them even more badly. So, in the case of liftman, what could be his real victory? So, when the passenger had treated the liftman harshly, or when he insulted him, he could have said him politely that, sir, you can say it even more nicely. So that will do what? That passenger, he will have had a change in his heart. He would have realized that he is treating a menial worker, a liftman, rudely. He will realize it. Or if he is too haughty to realize it, he would have at least felt ashamed for his behavior, although he might not express it at the during that time immediately, but he would have realized it, and that is the real victory. To change people's attitude, to make people good from the inside, is the real victory. An eye for an eye will make the whole world blind. If somebody is bad to you, if you are bad to them back again, it's not the real victory. The real victory is that when somebody is back to you and you are treating them good, and it will make a change in this, it will create a change in their heart. It will, make them realize of their mistake. That is the real victory. Remember when our prophet was stone pelted in Taif, he was, covered with blood. He could have cursed them on, but what he did, he prayed for them. And we have seen in the later part, and his prayer was answered. So if somebody is bad to us, we have to treat them in a good way, or at least we can make them understand. Now, what can be the solution? We have talked about problems. Now, what can be the solution? We have to be our own police to check our own manners, since law does not govern our courtesy. Since there is no law to govern our courtesy, we have to be our own police. We have to check we have to, understand how we behave. We have to look after our own behavior. When we are good, people will treat us nicely. Our good manner may change one's mind and make them feel ashamed if they have their bad behavior. So when we check our bad manner, it will do what? It will make the person who is behaving with you badly feel ashamed, and he will be a better person. So dear students, with this, the discussion of this chapter has ended. You read the chapter in your home, at your home. If you find any problem, please do contact us. The contact list has been supplied to you, so you can contact us on the prescribed time. And you read this chapter in your home, and do subscribe to Al Hira National Schools channel to get more update. With this, have a good day. Thank you.